Is the go live? Is the Gamara versus Monster X? Did you not update?
Why? Oh no, it should be.
Whatever.
It doesn't say Winter Votes live stream.
Well, it does, but then it says Gamara versus Monster X under that.
Really?
Yeah, it does. Not a big deal.
It doesn't show it on my thing. Let me see.
When I go to
let me get rid of that.
Excited.
Something in there. Hold on.
Exciting. I'm all pumped up about tonight.
Yeah.
I'm all pumped up.
Yeah.
Can't wait. We got good, nice guests lined up.
Hopefully it changes. Anyways, they see Gamara versus.
I mean, you are a busy man. You can't keep all your live streams straight.
I know. Found some royalty-free movies on Saturday. So
you might need to get an assistant. No? Yeah.
No. It's supposed to be you.
Oh, that's right.
You're never available.
No, I'm not.
You're only available on Monday night.
Yeah, that's it. I'm busy getting information, finding stuff out.
Yeah. So let me just jump in real quick before we start.
Yeah, go for it.
I posted online on the Facebook group. I posted some upcoming meetings.
Yes.
Somebody was good enough to find this stuff. They sent me an email saying, attached you will find copies of postings currently on the town's website concerning upcoming municipal meetings. For each meeting, you will find a copy of the post and then followed by the meeting agenda for that meeting. I didn't put all that on there, but as you will find, some meetings are posted without any agenda. For instance, the Licensing Commission will be meeting next Monday evening, yet no agenda posted. Those meeting agendas that have been posted, critique the content of the agenda for informative information. So that's one of the things that's becoming a pet peeve again. Let me see again. Anyways, uh-oh. Did you just pull me up?
No, I didn't. Who was? I just shut it down.
Someone says, the question here is simply this: why does Winthrop Town Hall continue to use an archaic method for notifying the public about municipal meetings? We touched on this at least 8 months ago, right?
Yep.
This is episode 62. We've been talking about this. According to the information found under the calendar, in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 23B, the official meeting notices are posted on the principal official bulletin board of the town, located in the foyer of Town Hall. This information is misleading since official meeting notices are posted on the principal official bulletin board, which is actually located at the rear doorway of Town Hall. The rear doorway is neither a foyer nor a lobby. Instead, it's simply a doorway, which coincidentally can be challenging to find.
What? I don't know. I'm going to take issue with the splitting hairs about if it's a foyer or a doorway or a hallway or whatever.
Go ahead.
What
is this, 1940?
No.
The old lady goes downstairs and finds the bullet.
I mean, unfortunately, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe it's actually state law that it has to be done that way. Until that gets changed, I mean,
well, that's the lazy way. That they're doing the least amount to get the information out.
That's all that they have to do. They'd rather put it on the website.
Doesn't make it right.
No,
it doesn't make it right. I mean,
they are putting it on the website. They do, it's not all the time. It's not consistent. But anyway, moving on.
It says, given that most of our local boards, committees, commissions, and departments usually post notices of public meetings only hours before the start of the meeting, the public is required to visit the town's principal official bulletin board on a daily basis. Would you do that every day, Todd?
Hell no.
So there you go. I mean, you're over here saying, I don't see a problem with it, but you won't do it.
By the law. Well, I'll go on the website, and if it's there,
if it happens to be there.
Well, there's also an argument that some of these committees are not required to follow open meeting law because they're not run by elected officials.
Public is required to visit the town's principal official bulletin board on a daily basis if it wants to know the date and time of the meeting, let alone what will be discussed at the meeting. It should not have to be taxing to find out what's going on in the town. People should not have to visit Town Hall's bulletin board to find out what's going on in their local government. Why doesn't the town adopt its own website as a method for all public bodies, including all boards, committees, commissions, and departments within the town, to post notices and meeting agendas at least 7 days in advance of each meeting? Imagine, if you will, being able to follow when any of our boards, committees, commissions, or departments will be meeting from the luxury of your own home or office. In my opinion, having the town's website as a method for all the public bodies within the town to post notices and meeting agendas well in advance of a meeting would promote openness and transparency, and possibly people attending meetings, participation.
Well, the town manager is working on the website.
Most of municipalities throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts use a website to post notices and meetings. Town of Winthrop should do the same. All right, there you go.
We do. We just are not very consistent. That's okay. Fair.
Yeah.
But maybe when the website's better. Anyway, so I think we need to move a little more quickly here because we've lost 7 minutes of Sarah. But I have
my stuff's important too, you know.
No, I know.
My stuff's important. I'm important here.
I just don't want to lose
somebody.
All right.
Not a nobody. I'm a somebody, you know, and I want respect.
Let's think about that a little bit now.
I want respect. Treating me
so,
like Fredo.
So tonight, I went to the school committee meeting again because I wanted to readdress the Jack and Jackie book, Jack Not Jackie, because I wanted to correct the record on some things. And I also had spoken to Brianna Malloy, and because she had some issues with it. And I thought it would be good to have her perspective on the show, her and her wife. So without any further ado, let's.
Do you want to give a little background before we introduce Brianna?
Sure. Well, I know that's probably a good point.
Yeah.
Brianna, I met Brianna through our children. They played football together. We became friends, you know, through that typical route. I met her wife, Sarah, found out we aligned a lot on issues at the school. And since that time, we've kind of been, I guess you'd call us collaborators, if you will, on certain issues that are coming up in the public schools. She's been pretty outspoken about being in the LGB community and how there are some things going on in that community that are not necessarily that she's not in agreement with. And so I thought it would be good to get her perspective with regard to this book, Jack Not Jackie.
And she's not a frequent contributor to the show.
No,
but she's been on more than a few times.
More than twice.
So without further ado, she is. Hi, Brianna.
Hi, girls.
Hello. Hi.
How you doing? All right. So the people that don't know, who's who?
Sarah.
There you go.
Brianna.
There you go. All right. How you guys doing?
Yeah, how we doing?
Great. How are you?
All right. Getting ready for Thanksgiving?
Right on.
All right. So let's get into it, Todd.
Yeah. So Scott, I don't know, you may have saw that we had gone to the meeting tonight because I think the three of us, actually the four of us, were in agreement that this book, Jack Not Jackie, is potentially harmful. And,
it's unnecessary. I say it's totally unnecessary before it's even harmful.
I agreed. So that not being our opinion, certainly we can make the case based upon data that it can be harmful because it leads to one conclusion. It leads down one path. The book starts off, and Brianna, I think you said it best tonight. You know, it's all nice. It's talking about recognizing and accepting and not really caring about the girl acting like the sister being more like a boy. And then it just takes the sharp nosedive at the end, right? When the mother basically says, you know, Jackie's a boy. She's been telling Jack's a boy or whatever. She's been telling this all along.
That's what it was. I was trying to remember that line when I said there was a part. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's been misinterpreted, Todd. I think that's important to start with because, you know, again, in the transcripts, even and just in general, it's like, oh, this is just about a girl that identifies as a boy. No.
It's not. No.
It's not.
The transcript isn't exactly, the brightest newspaper in the planet. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, there were some typos, and I did notice that most of their stuff is certainly left-leaning, and so I just can't.
It's the penny saver. It's basically the penny saver.
So I wanted to, you made a comment tonight, Brianna, at the meeting, and it's on the subject of this book, right? That, and you made a comment tonight that your journey, you had a not a similar journey, but not all journeys lead to, and I'm paraphrasing, but not all journeys lead to basically surgery or transition, right? The person could just be gay, lesbian, whatever, right?
Yeah, or just saying, oh, I must be a different gender. That's massive. That is massive. And to just say that you can turn it like that is, I'm not saying, and I want to be clear, I am not in any way, shape, or form the type to say that it doesn't exist, that you are born in this body and that's that, because don't forget, I am a registered nurse, right? So we had this patient who was an intersexual. Do you know about that? Intersexual.
I've heard it, but I don't really know what it is.
It's the I, and it like exists. The I in LGBTQ.
Not doing
I
it.
plus.
What
Okay.
color is that on the flag?
LMNOP. I don't know. I can't keep up, and I feel like I should feel guilty about that.
Which stripe or angle is it on the flag?
Which stripe is it on the flag?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it exists, and it was actually, fascinating at a medical standpoint, selfishly, right?
Yeah.
But it was absolutely heartbreaking on a human level, and just as his nurse, so he's a guy, and he, did appear just that way, nothing out of the ordinary, but actually was born with both of his sex organs.
So that used to be called a hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
I was just going to say formally. Yeah. And, we don't have to get graphic, but just that you understand, there are internal, and he had that, but there were external organs as well, and appendages and places to go inside as well. So this was so fascinating.
You did that very well, by the way.
I did, right? I was very PC about that one.
Yeah, that was good.
But it was awful. And basically what I learned from that is that parents make a decision, right, at birth. And you sometimes they don't, and this didn't, and just felt like he was a guy all along. Sometimes at puberty that can change. It's actually a hormonal, it's very scientific, biological, right? And so I learned a lot from that experience as well. So there's a lot out there that we're not even being educated about. But to say that somebody in the first grade, there's a difference between supporting something, right? If something like, oh, I'm a little bit confused, and like encouraging the confusion, right? So there are two big differences. And that's kind of the point we wanted to come across. Both of our journeys very, very different. Like Sarah's always been a tomboy. I've always been super feminine. I'm like mad I didn't put lip gloss on before this. You know what I mean? It's like she would never even notice if I did, like just like you guys do, like seriously, right? So two different journeys, definitely, for sure. And at this, like, I can't say, like, what if we would have been kids this time, right? With what's going on. Well, maybe it would be something.
I'm sorry, Beata, if I could ask you a question on that, though. Like, in your journey, did you, when you were young, I mean, do you mind if I ask, what's the earliest you remember realizing something was different? And what was that like?
Actually realization, like, oh,
yeah,
shit, this is real.
I would
not confusion, like you're like, this is it.
School.
Yeah.
Middle school.
Which
is weird.
I never questioned my identity. That was never
right
a thing that you question, So if that book was around when I was in elementary school and somebody dangled the carrot in front of me, maybe I would have felt like I wanted to change my sex. Maybe it would have caused more confusion. That's the last thing these little kids need in their lives.
Let me ask you this, and we all agree on that. So you read the book, and you get to the part where they
thought the book was great until about, the last couple pages.
Until they get to the part where they just kind of laissez-faire, like, oh, so we're just gonna, oh, so she's a boy now, and they don't really. It's just like poof.
There was no questioning what the child's decision was. It was only comforting the sister and making her feel better about what her sister/brother was doing.
Do you see that as
nothing to go ahead?
Do you see that as subversive?
yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like it's misleading, you know?
Well, I think
It's leading you down to one path and one path only. And that's not fair because that was me as a little kid. I mean, I never cut my hair off, but that was totally me.
Right.
I still dress like that, but I never questioned.
That was never a thing. And that was the point. Like Sarah's mom always shopped like in the boys section for most of her clothes. That was never a big deal. Like most of the girls I've dated, it was the same story, right? It wasn't like a big deal, I guess is my point.
Right.
But now that has become, you must be a boy. Stop taking the lesbians that girls like me like away, telling them that they're supposed to be boys. Maybe they're just tomboys. Maybe they're just
thin in the herd. They're thin in the herd.
Well, that's a joke, but that's a very, very poignant point.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Why can't she be a woman that could chop wood better than like you guys? Maybe I'm going to be honest.
Because it doesn't fit the agenda. It doesn't.
You know
fit
what I mean?
agenda.
Like, why can't that be? And so that's what I think we have to talk about as far as embracing our differences. And I mean that. And I'm not. And I have to say, for the record, I'm not saying that you may share the same opinion, but I do feel that these, progressive teachers and teacher assistants and the social justice warriors of our town. Activists, that's right. And but I do feel that they are really wanting to be about inclusivity, right? Embracing diversity. Sure. I believe that they really want the kids to be better, and this is their way of changing the future in such a positive way. Like they really believe in this. And I think it's our jobs, right, to just kind of come at them logically. And I think that's where me and Sarah come in to just be like, hey, like, we're just like kind of, I don't know, just lesbians that had different paths. Why can't that little girl just be a tomboy that ends up maybe marrying a man, maybe transitioning, maybe she's a lesbian?
So the problem is this: the schools are they are a hive, right? And they all buzz around inside that hive. No one from the outside. There's nothing getting in through that hive. They have to go in through the only hole in the hive to get in there, right? The hive's protected. So they buzz around in this hive and they become with the hive mindset, right? So you get these activist teachers that come in, these young activist teachers, because it's not the old teachers that are doing it. That's a fact, right? Mm-hmm. It's the old teachers, the old liberal teachers that try to be cool and hip. The young activist teachers want nothing to do with them, actually.
The old liberal, let's face it, they're like Kennedy Democrats, which died with JFK.
Exactly. So, I used to be a Kennedy Democrat. I used to be, my brother said I was a Tip O'Neill Democrat, and that Democrats, that's why I walked away. But anyways, so you get these teachers and these activist teachers, and they get in their little, groups, the little sewing circles, and they say, we're going to make change. Some of them are frustrated from having a rough childhood, right? So now they're like, it's like cops. Sometimes you get, and I was a cop, you understand law enforcement. You get some guys that come in and they just have a chip on their shoulder. They want to be a cop, and then they got guys like me, and they're like, and in their head, guys like you used to pick on me. So now I'm going to bust your balls, and I'm going to arrest you, and I'm going to make it hard on you because people like you used to pick on me. There's a small percentage of them that are like that. They want to change. They just want to disrupt. This is a fact. Any of what I'm saying is not it's scientifically proven. There's studies on how these hive mentalities work. And that's why you get that in these schools. And you do get the other teachers that legitimately mean well. They mean well, but they know not what they do.
This is true.
They don't study the science.
Do you know they have a lot of political, like for instance, an enormous, like probably the size of like, I'm looking at a door right now, probably the size of a door, like, right, a fist, the Elem, in the classrooms, no matter what side I stood on, that is so inappropriate in our schools. So that is a teacher that put that up.
Yeah. Especially because it turned out to be such a fraudulent outfit.
Well, that's a whole other thing in and of itself.
But help no black families, none, zero, not one.
But what does that mean when certain classrooms have that sticker with the
It means the principals are afraid to enforce.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is what that means.
But I think we're getting off subject here.
Yeah.
So again, I want to give you credit. I want to give you 100% credit for going to the town, to going to the school committee meeting tonight, standing up and telling your story and getting your point. Hopefully you got your point across. The book shouldn't be in there, period. And you asked the question that I've been asking for the last couple of weeks, and that is, who made the decision to put this book in those classrooms? What
Great
teachers
question, Scott?
Yeah, what teachers are certified to understand what this book really means and why it should be in there? Or are they just virtue signaling and they're like, let's just slip this in there, right?
And that's. I mean, did you read the article, Scott, by any chance? Like,
I don't read that garbage transcript.
I highlighted it. Like Lisa Howard was during this little interview here. She was talking about how the teachers read and made suggestions. Well, my question stands: what's their qualifications and which teachers?
Was it a majority of the teachers? Was
Right.
it all of the teachers? Was
Why
it
weren't
some
the
of the
parents
teachers
involved? Like, what
was it
is
a
going on
committee
here?
selected by other teachers? You know.
And let me for the people who weren't watching the meeting tonight, let me just give a little context about like the data. We're talking about the data, and this is a good point. So let's just share some facts, because there's not a lot of hard data in this trans movement. One fact we know, and one fact we know is that 2 countries have made it illegal to prescribe Lupron and other puberty blockers and steroids
Blockers, yeah.
for children. 2 countries, 2 European countries. We also know, why isn't anyone asking themselves this question? Why hasn't the United States Food and Drug Administration put these drugs on the safe to use list and prescribe list for children? They don't want to touch it because they're smart. They're looking overseas and seeing what's been happening. Tavistock Hospital in Britain shut down their gender affirming care surgery unit. I'll tell what the story is now is lawsuits. They weren't making money anymore. For the hospitals, this was about profit. For the doctors that were gender whatever, a lot of them are now starting to back away a little bit because they're seeing what's happening to these detransitioners. And that's kind of the next kind of phase here.
That's the growing population right now within this. So it's concerning. And we just have to look at the data, and it's astounding what's happening. And it's really not clear yet, right, guys? Because all this stuff is just now being pushed, right? So who's to say what's going to happen to that first grader, in 10 years? What's going to happen?
So let me ask you this. It's a question for the both of you. Teachers today, teachers when we were growing up, and I know they hate that. They hate when boomers say when we were growing up. Because we grew up, it wasn't the greatest, way to grow up, I guess, in your situation, right? So maybe you didn't have the support that you might have needed, right? Maybe you didn't have somebody to turn to on this thing, right? Maybe you didn't have any of that. Today, and I've said this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but first, how did you guys cope with it? Did you have any if you don't mind me asking, and I'm asking this for a reason, did you have an outlet? Did you have people to talk to? Did you have therapists?
I feel like our time, I graduated high school 20 years ago.
Right.
So it was a lot different back then. No, you didn't have that. There were no such thing as smartphones. No, totally. Right. It was a totally different world. Therapists, if you went and sought that yourself, of course, but I mean,
but you got to tell somebody to take you to the therapist, because
right.
If you're not
young,
you can't just show
absolutely.
up. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Kids today have more access to support groups literally every single second of the day. There's someone, somewhere, some group, some community that's there on the internet or on your phone, FaceTime, however, to talk to help you through these situations.
Where have we gotten? Because to be perfectly honest with you, like the first time I started noticing it was like with my son, like picking up, I don't know, his friends, and it was like a girl. So I was like, oh, is it like a girl you like? He's like, Mom, she's a lesbian. This was a couple years ago.
And I'm
So
like,
this
she's
is middle
11.
school.
She's 11.
So I said, wait,
That tells you something, though. That tells you
wait,
something.
did you say what? And she's a lesbian. I'm like, how does she know? I kind of like, you don't really figure that stuff out until much later. And you're not, I don't know. I guess my head wasn't there in high school. I wasn't like feeling, you know, I don't know. It just wasn't.
Well, that wasn't the cool
emphasis.
thing to do either.
Right.
Then.
You didn't. I was going to say you didn't have parents. You didn't have parents that wanted to be able to go to their coffee clatches and talk about their trans child.
Absolutely not. No.
And we have that now. There are parents.
Which now take a step back. That might listen.
The pendulum swung because I don't think it was necessarily complete. I don't think that like Sarah had like a harder time, maybe, but like there's definitely like it's hard. It can be very difficult with that generation. So right. I do think that the pendulum just now we're like, woo, it's like this is crazy now,
Yeah. So you get these parents that actually it's a virtue signal. Oh, look at my son. His name is Sharon now. You know what I mean?
No, it's true. It's true.
You get those parents and they're out of their minds, but they support the kid, right? They support the kid as crazily as they do. They want to be popular. But my point is this. Teachers think way too much of themselves. School administrators think way too much of themselves. They think they are now the last line of defense. They're right up there on the front line fighting this, and they want to be there for the kids. When the kid has this, the teacher just needs to teach.
Right.
They don't understand that. They're taught this evidently in college, but this is what we're dealing with. That's how that book gets into the elementary school. Right?
Well, yes. It
separates the parents from the children, and that's been my
certainly. That's a whole other thing. Yeah.
It goes back to the CRT that's not being taught in schools because you're right. It's not actually a thing you teach. It's actually a way of teaching.
It's an
example of this.
It's a theory.
I don't know, Scott, if you watched the video I sent you yet. The guy James Lindsay, theft of education.
Yeah.
He demonstrates an example of a word problem because we've all heard them say math is racist. Well, the word problem goes something like this. Johnny's going to drive to the amusement park. It's 50 miles away. He's driven 20 miles. How many miles does he have left to go? Typically, what happens in the classroom now is before we go into the actual equation, we start talking about the demographics of the people in the math problem.
Well, first they start off by saying, let me correct you. The teacher starts off by saying, do you like amusement parks? Who in here likes amusement parks?
Oh, right. Yeah. They frame it up. That's right.
Yeah. And then they get them involved. And then there's a whole.
And that's an actual example. It actually happens. And then it turns into, can black people go?
Who goes to the amusement park? How many in this room? Half the kids raise their hand. Why can't maybe other people go to amusement parks? Maybe because they're poor. So now you're getting into that part of it. It all turns political. They can frame it to political, and then they send it in a direction of race. Yeah. How many black people did you see at the amusement park when you were there? Which is funny because I went to Disney Springs last year, and I went into one of the Disney stores, and I took a picture of all the people that were working there. Like they're all standing around a counter. To a person, they're all white.
Right.
But Disney's like all about inclusivity.
Yeah, right.
Everybody in there was white. Anyways.
Anywho. Full of crapola.
So that's where it goes. Yeah. The teachers have a way of just getting these points across to kids that they want. And getting back to my point, do you agree teachers don't need to be like, they're not the front line of this? They should probably just take a step back because you said it, Brianna. They kind of separate the kids from the parents.
Yeah.
Right. Did you experience anything like that in school with the teacher? Did you guys ever have a teacher that you confided in, or
I never felt like they were separating, like,
no, they were
us from our parents.
Did you have one that you confided in, like you trusted this teacher and you're like, hey,
I had plenty of teachers like that. Yeah.
And did they try to steer you down another path, or did they just give you that everything's going to be okay, and didn't really get too involved?
Yeah,
right?
No, they were always great to us and there for us if we needed them. I didn't really need them like that, but if I did, I'm sure they would have been there.
There you go. But they didn't go out of their way to get involved in your
But
life.
you didn't know I didn't know their, and I went to
I don't feel like there
Reds.
was an agenda then, you know?
I didn't know their marital status. I didn't know.
Yeah, right.
You know what? Like, I'm somebody's nurse. I don't need to be like, hey, I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. You know what I mean? Like, nobody needs to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would be like you seeing a patient and announcing, so just so you know, I'm Nurse Brianna. I'm part of the LGBTQ community.
That's weird, right? That's not like cool. That's not, it's
to do that.
Yeah,
and let's hit on that. LGBTQ plus. I have been doing, as you know, I shared a story, the Chloe Cole story. I've literally read like 100 plus of these stories. But also what I'm seeing out on social media is a huge amount of people from the LGB. They don't want nothing to do with the T.
With the T.
I know it, but see, then the I really does exist and the A exists. So then I feel bad for them too. But like, that's a whole nother. But
that's an identity issue. That's not.
That's not a sexual preference issue.
No, I
Lesbian,
know.
gay, bisexual.
I think what it turns into
story.
It's narcissism.
Right.
It's pure
because
narcissism.
once that P for the pedophile gets included, like I want, like no. We want nothing to do with that.
That's slipping under the radar. Do
Right.
not breeze over that.
Right.
That is slipping under the radar. Trust me, they are working on that.
So they've come up with the MAP, which is the minor attracted person, and then they've come up with the adult attracted minor. Have you heard of that? The AAM. Now they're trying to give a label to the children that are attracted to the adults.
When I was growing up, it was just Manbla. Mambla, the
right,
man.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
my Jeffrey Curley guy, right?
Boy Love Association.
That's what I'm saying. I got family members that are cops, and that's how I learned about. Was it NAMBLA?
NAMBLA, North American Man Boy Love.
They taught me about that, and I thought, wow.
That was the Jeffrey Curley.
I thought it was there couldn't be or anything, and now here we are.
Honestly, people wonder why certain people are armed. I mean, really.
Well, listen, we're going to let you go. I know one of you has to get ready for work tomorrow.
I do tonight.
Tonight? Oh, okay.
Sarah, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Sarah, thank you. Brianna, as usual, you're always welcome back on the show. Your contribution is always appreciated. Your candor with both of you, I want to thank you for that. It's educational. And in fact, it is,
It's good to have a conversation, have open.
They always say, well, that's a conversation, right? Well, we just had a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think the gist of the conversation was, even you guys don't agree that book should be in that school.
Correct.
Here's the gist of the other conversation. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say it. I'd really like to know how certain people in our community, like LF, would respond to this very conversation. What are they going to say about, what's she going to say about you two? She gonna call you transphobe?
No, but I think, and I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to laugh like this.
No, it's okay.
You forgot her, by the way. You
forgot you know what? You have to understand. Okay. Let me just be very clear. There are people of the community that like maybe fighting for justice, but they're the same people that came out behind their keyboards and like questioned my nursing license and my professionalism. So I got a problem with some of these members, my own kind of stuff. So anyway, I would still love to put all of that aside and maybe just be a better example to them and say, hey, you don't even have to be like that. And we can have a conversation because like I said, from the very beginning, I really feel, and Sarah's less tolerant, and that's a good thing for me because I think it balances, but I know that they're harmful and I get that. And that's what we were talking about today when we left the school committee meeting is Sarah goes, I just wish it was just more clear that this is very harmful. And I thought about it, is this book mandated? Is it part of the list or whatever? But I thought about it, like just the title is a big, loud title, Jack, not Jackie. And it's displayed, with the cute little toy next to it or whatever, you know what I mean? On the bookshelf. And then that's the it one. You see what I'm saying? So you start thinking of it that way. And I'm just not okay with it.
We're not crazy, guys. We see what happened overseas. We see they're finally coming to where we should already be, and they're shutting it down. They're slowing it down.
Growing up, kids were off limits in politics, in agendas. I mean, I've always said this. We are in the 60s on steroids. This is where we're at.
To make a point, did your parents have to sign for you guys to learn sex education? Because I remember bringing home the permission slip.
Yes.
How do they get away with this?
Yes. That's a great question. Well, I'll tell you how. This is where I start beating up
That's
on
why
the
we're
teachers
questioning
union.
it. Yeah.
The teachers union raises lots of money. If you look at the resumes of all the people that work at the Mass Teachers Association, none of it's about education. It's all about activism. And so they help the electricians. Politicians get elected. The politicians appoint the Secretary of Education, and there you have it. And now teachers union says to the politician, we want XYZ as an example. Do not open the schools until it's safe. Here's our list of what is considered safe. It was ridiculous. Same thing happens with this DEI stuff. We got to push back.
So Father Walter, that's his comment right up there. Father Walter's a
The
good
YouTube
guy.
comment.
Yeah, there's a YouTube.
Oh,
There's a comment.
I loved his quote, and I wanted to I would never repeat it like that. I just felt like I shouldn't do that, but I wanted to say in that quote was really brilliantly said, and I kind of used a little bit of his verbiage saying the path. I forgot how he said it, but in the transcript, I really liked how
Leads to one conclusion.
it leads to that one conclusion, and it's just kind of excluding people to just maybe we have to meander a little bit. Maybe we come back, maybe we don't come back, maybe we go a different direction. That's okay. But let us just explore that and not put us into one avenue. So I really liked how he said that, and that the transcript printed it.
I like a lot of what he says. He has no problem putting himself in the line of fire, and he's taken a lot of heat for coming on our show a couple times, talking to Todd. But at least, I mean, if they take a lesson from him, then they would talk also, and there would be a dialogue, a legitimate dialogue, right?
Yeah, he's a powerful example. Yeah, he's a great role model in the community. Yeah,
he's my conscience. He's my conscience on this show. I can't. I don't swear as much as I used to because of him.
Oh, he's got work. He's got work for you.
Oh boy, he sent a YouTube video. That's what I meant, Todd.
Bunch of
comment.
Yeah,
and it's called. The first one he sent was called "The Trans Train," a Swedish documentary. Right, so he just sent 4 of them there. So these look like interesting. Well, I'm retired, so I have all day to watch them tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be very versed on it by the time.
Anywho,
I didn't get ready. It's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Happy
Sarah?
Thanksgiving, guys.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. We'll have you on again too. Thank you for coming on. Bree, if you're wanting to stay, that's great. If not, we'll have you on again too. Totally up to you.
Yeah, I'll say goodbye in a couple of minutes.
All right, bye guys.
All right, thank you,
See you
Sarah.
later, Sarah. Awesome.
Is she working on Thanksgiving?
No, she's off on holidays and weekends. Thank God, right?
What about you?
Same. Yeah,
Good.
same.
Good.
So, yeah.
You know, my wife, she's a nurse practitioner, pediatric family, and she understands, just like I do, being when I was in law enforcement and the military for 32 years, that sometimes Thanksgiving is just another day.
Oh, you know what? I love
You
working
did your
holidays.
time.
I loved it, to be honest. I mean, you know how it is. You get it. One of my jobs, we got time and a half plus an extra 8 hours pay, and sometimes it can work out sweet. And it's like a nice time. The bosses aren't there. It's not a bad, all the years I've done, but it's also nice to be home with the family. I feel like I've kind of done that time.
Yeah, you did your time, exactly.
You know what I mean? I can kind of sit back a little bit now. So
yeah. I was. As soon as I had the seniority to take that no, not me anymore. No, not doing that. Todd wouldn't understand that sacrifice.
Nope. Hey, wait, while we still have you, Bree, I'd like you to weigh in on this question that one of our viewers asked. What age should be the age for transition? 15,
Your
18?
opinion.
Yeah. Opinion.
Oh, after puberty, 100%. And I'm saying this as a nurse as well. I'm going to pull the nurse card on this one because of that one patient I had. And I did my homework. I remember I stayed up all night one night, just researching the hell out of, actually the specific hormones and kind of what happens in puberty. I had to understand that a little bit better.
Yep.
But that intersexual patient that I had, what happened was it needed to be really confirmed at puberty. Right. And so I would say after puberty, I mean, after high school is over, I mean, think about it.
Well,
You know?
I've always said this, and I get yelled at by some, including Father Walter. I've always said this. There is no way someone at kindergarten up to second grade, they're looking at their genitals as something to tug on, talk about with our mothers, and go to the bathroom with. That's about it. They're not sexual creatures at that age.
Boys are always touching at that age. They're always touching. They're curious. They don't know what's going on. They're always touching down there. I mean, that's just, and they want these kids to read this book. That is insane to me.
You know, I mean, I understand that times have changed, so I don't really know what it's like to be in high school right now, because it just that there wasn't that focus. But now knowing that there is that focus, and we're just, I mean, let's face it, guys, no matter what your sexual orientation is, it is a hypersexual world. It's very explicit right now. The things that we see,
Easy
I mean,
access.
like the things I thought I saw a lot with, like, I'm going to date myself, but the Madonna, was it the Like a Virgin? Remember? Oh my God, what a sin. She was in the church or whatever. Do you remember? And it was like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that was raunchy and super sexual that I saw, like growing up, you know what I mean? Like in my, you know, preteen years and
I was
going
a bit
into
older. I was like, ooh la la.
But do you know what I mean?
Justify My Love was even a better video.
Yes, it was. Wow.
Sorry.
You guys would go there, but no, do you know what I mean? So it's just different at that point, and it's just things are so innocent. Different now. So now that we are in that world, you know, I just want to at least, you know, say, okay, I understand that, and like maybe, you know, my son's friend at how old were they, 12 or whatever, did think, you know she was a lesbian. Maybe she is a lesbian, but I have a hard time with that because it took me many years. Because even though I was like out and I was dating women, I ended up like, you know, falling into the like, okay, what am I doing? No, I'm going to marry a man. I'm going to have the white picket fence. I'm going to have a baby. I'm going to do what everybody expects me to do. So that's just my journey and my story. I'm not saying that's like everybody else's. We all have a different path, you know? And then there were people in my life that said, well, are you being honest with yourself? Yeah, absolutely. There might've been people on the sidelines that kind of knew, but then when I came back out again, even though I was 31, it was weird. I couldn't even say the words. It was hard for me. So I want to be supportive. I don't want people to go through what I've gone through necessarily. But I think we're in very, very scary grounds when we're putting in elementary school books, right? So I know a lot's coming out during the puberty years, and, you know, maybe that's guidance counselors. I haven't really wrapped my head around that, but there's so many resources, as Scott and, you know, you were saying before. Yeah. So there's other ways. We don't need to do the first grade is just really dangerous.
It was bad enough. Like and it's a fact. You could see it. It's right there for everybody to see if they look long enough or hard enough. Not even that the radical gay agenda that I call it. The radical gay agenda is attacking middle schoolers. They don't go near high schoolers. They just go after middle schoolers. Everything revolves around the middle schoolers. And this is by plan. This is by design, right?
Sure is.
Because high school kids don't give a shit. High school kids are like, I'm going to college. I'm going to this. They're already past that being swayed, that being persuaded, or how can I say it? What's the word I'm looking for? By being influenced.
Yeah, right? They're not as easily influenced. Yeah.
So they go after the middle schoolers, and they know that
and
this
younger.
is true. And younger. And yet now they're going after
younger and younger. See the pattern?
Now, my daughter, my stepdaughter, Amanda, she graduated West Boca High School, West Boca Raton High School last year. She's first year at FSU. But I was pretty involved with her through her senior year, junior year, high school years. And she would say, so-and-so just came out the other day. She would say, but I don't think she means it. I think she's looking for attention.
You know, that's what I mean.
Because everything is this. Everything is this. And now these teachers, they don't take that into consideration. Like, this is all attention getting. It's not virtue signaling like parents do.
Yeah.
It's attention getting behavior. So that girl might have said something to be cool because maybe it's, I don't know, and someone somewhere it's cool, she thinks it's cool to say I'm a lesbian, right? And she gets attention.
She gets a like.
Doesn't necessarily mean she is, right? Yeah. They can act just to be like, oh, they're different. They get this attention. All these, and I don't know. I just think that it's too, with all this and all this technology and all the access they have to things, I don't think I think that they can do it for attention. Now, my daughter was saying some kids are, but it's not a big deal anymore. Like the percentage of kids, growing up that were tolerant when I graduated with Todd's brother in 81, the percentage of people that were tolerant were very small, right? The percentage of, hate was large. So that was the problem. That was one of my best friend's brother was gay, and he used to get bashed, beat up, they stopped going to high school, the whole thing, Winthrop High School. Today,
yes, look how the pendulum has swung. We talked about this, right?
It's like, so Scott's gay, so what? Now you're going to get a small percentage of people that are going to be the haters, but you're going to get the majority of the people are going to be like, hey, I'm cool with it. Who cares? That's the thing. Who cares?
Nobody cares. That's the thing is, like, nobody cares. It's irrelevant usually. You know what I mean?
So the gay agenda got their point across. They got it across. Now they're moving the goalposts. They got what they wanted. They got acceptance.
The gay community doesn't want this. It's the trans community that's doing it.
Yeah, that's right. And they push it. I'm sorry, exactly. They push the goalposts. They move the goalposts, and they want more. And they want to go at younger kids. And they're not happy with the majority of kids in high school, middle school are accepting. It's not good enough.
I know. I think what you said was key. It was like middle school, and now it's earlier and earlier. So,
are we keeping you from something, Brianna? You have to.
Oh no.
I don't want you to think you have to stick around with us two motor mouths.
Well, one anyway.
Hey, listen. Someone has to carry the show.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh. Happy Thanksgiving. I love you, buddy.
Well, I can't wait to watch the Luther. So are we done beating that up for tonight? Because I do have another topic. And again, Brianna, you're welcome to participate. You're welcome to go, whatever's up to you. But so I got some feedback off of our last few shows, and I'll probably get some more after tonight, that basically we're coming across as teacher haters. And this is an opportune time to talk about some things that are going on in the schools with regards to the teachers. But first, I want to be clear, and I think I speak mostly for you, Scott. You can jump in and kill me where I'm off. But I think we've been clear. Number one, we don't think all teachers are radical gay activists.
No.
We don't think all teachers are strident union members who put the union needs before the kids. We don't think those things. But I also want to say we can critique teachers. Why can't we? Why is it a sin? Why is it jaw-dropping? And I'll say this, I on Facebook, I wrote something about the Mass Teachers Association being criminals, or the teachers union being criminals. A very dear friend of the family responded, blah, blah, blah. I think I actually wrote it on her page, which was probably not cool, but the long and the short of it was I wasn't going after her.
Yeah.
I was talking about the teachers union. And the broader point is, I do think the Mass Teachers Association is criminals. Look up their all of the resumes of their people. They are not they're not driven for education. They're driven for contract settlement and activism.
Money. That's their job, though.
And it is their job, but again, it's incongruent.
But it's our job as parents in the community to hold them liable and to see where is the funding going.
We're the taxpayers.
We lose every time on that fight.
Yeah.
We do. We knowingly settle contracts our school committees know when they say yes, every year they're going to have to find the money somewhere. We don't have it. We never have it. It's the shell game. We just keep kicking the can down the road. It's what we do.
I want to address the teacher hater thing. I have said every time I bring this up, I say teacher activists. I don't say all teachers. And I do say there are good teachers in the school system. I don't say all of them. I always say the teacher activists. So if they say I'm a teacher activist hater, yeah, that's spot on.
Home run.
Because teachers shouldn't be activists. They should be teachers. And there are good teachers that are afraid of the teacher activists because the teacher activists take control of the system.
Well,
They bully the principal. They bully the
they
assistant
bully the
principal.
staff.
They bully the superintendent.
anybody
They
in their
threaten them.
way.
Then you get these regular teachers that just want to teach. They just want to teach. And they can't. They can't because things get forced on them. Like last year, for instance, and it's going to happen this year. The teachers are supposed to have the Secret Santa. It was called the Secret Santa. Well, last year, this little group of teacher activists, one in particular, said, no, there should not be the Secret Santa. It's the secret snow person. There should not be a gender involved in this. This is what they said.
All that
So
energy.
now they had to change it to the secret snow person.
Focus on
That's
your.
what I mean. Those are the
Focus on your
people I
lesson
hate.
plan.
Those are
Focus
the
on your
people I
lesson
hate.
plan. But
yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. But listen, on that note, I am going to take off, guys. Thank you so
peace
much.
out. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Bree.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same
All
to
right,
you.
Diana.
Bye.
But on that note, Scott, why can't okay, Bruno Maioli. Bruno
Yeah.
Maioli is a convicted pedophile. Why is it that people who have the teacher moniker think they cannot be criticized? Why is it? Why are we as a society so afraid to criticize teachers? Because I'll say this too. I know some very good teachers in the school system.
Yeah.
And I've said to their faces, your silence on what happened during the pandemic is you're guilty.
But they get driven into the ground. They're afraid of losing their job. They're
I
afraid
know.
of losing. And why is that? Because the activist teachers
Yep.
force the agenda. They threaten lawsuits. They threaten strikes. They threaten to go to the union. They threaten to go to the press.
They do.
That's how they get away with it. They're bullies.
Well, here's some interesting news that's going to make you laugh a little, I think. Because the teachers have gotten themselves into a wee bit of a pickle that they don't know yet. So, you know all about solidarity, right, Scott? In the union world, right? Because there's always different bargaining units within your union. And when they call for solidarity, that means no individual unit settles. We all settle together. They didn't call for solidarity this time, but that's usually the message. And for sure, the first the first bargaining unit to settle shouldn't be the biggest one, because you leave the smaller ones out in the lurch because they're a smaller number.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened here. The teachers settled, and the ESPs have been left out in the lurch. And now
What is those letters stand for?
education support personnel.
All right.
They essentially, it's a part-time gig, and but they're mad. They didn't settle because they feel like they're super underpaid. I mean, they're on this email campaign. I disagree with them completely. I mean, you can't gripe about a job that doesn't pay enough money when you took the job in the first place knowing what the pay was. Like, that's on you. They're claiming that they're way behind, but they're not. It's not true. It's not a job that's meant to be able to float a family. It's a part-time gig. It's kind of your entryway into teaching. You get classroom experience. You can go to school at night, whatever the case may be. But it's never meant to have been a full-time job. They're asking for some astronomical number that's like 20x or 10x what the teachers got. And they just might get it. And the best part of this is how they might get it. There's an old trick that when I served on the school committee, we talked about doing it. A salary adjustment is not a raise. So if the ESPs said, well, I want something, I will take 10%, what the school committee could do is say, we'll adjust your base salary. You will adjust a salary adjustment that makes up, let's just call it 8% or whatever it is. And then we'll give you the same raise as the teachers. And the hope is that the teachers won't find out. But of course they're going to find out,
How would they know?
Because, well, of course they're gonna, because the ESPs are certainly, some of them are gonna talk about it and go, haha, we got more than you and you left us out in the lurch, right? Like, and then now let's step back. Look at what's going on in our school departments. It's all gaming the system to get more money, but it's not about money. Leave the profession if it's not good enough for you. Don't hold us hostage with these tactics. I don't agree that you need to make more money in a part-time job with summers off. I don't agree. And you know what? The offer is what the offer is. And none of this makes us teacher haters. And that's what the rhetoric that's out there now. I mean, they are lambasting the school committee.
And that's fine. They can say what teacher haters. Like I said, I don't like teacher activists. Yeah, they're spot on with that. I like teachers. I like teachers that teach. I like teachers that don't have an agenda. I like teachers that come in, they don't tell the kids their personal lives, their sexual, preferences, their pronouns. They don't virtue signal to the kids with signs all over their rooms and, try to be like hip and cool. Shut up. Yeah, I hate you. That's the teacher I hate. Okay?
I hate
So get it right. If you're going to say I hate a teacher, get it right.
Maybe we should have, maybe they really have these activist types have something like wrong. Maybe they need help. Maybe they need our empathy and our love.
Nah.
No?
No.
It's not what they need?
They're not getting it from me.
Do you think?
Once they shut up and start teaching and stop pushing agendas in the classroom, I'll give them all the empathy and love that I have.
Here's another hypothesis I have on this, though.
I mean,
I almost wonder if it's just all these radicals are actually, willfully becoming teachers on purpose. To try. Yeah, you think? I mean,
I think there is a percentage of them. I think you're absolutely right. There is a percentage of them that do that.
Because there is
there's a percentage of regular teachers, non-activist teachers, that are doing it because it's a job. All right, I'll be a teacher. I'll take the test. I'll get my certificate.
Yeah,
and I'll be a teacher. I know 3 people that just became teachers. It didn't last.
Whoa. Tommy Walsh. Remember Tommy Walsh that graduated with you? Yeah. Was a teacher. All right.
Yeah. Screaming liberal too. Screaming liberal. Yeah.
Oh, and he's a hypocrite. We'll talk.
I know that's off the air. Off the air. We're not here to bash people. I grew up down the street with Tommy. Me and Tommy were friends our whole childhood. Of course, after high school, you lose touch with people, and people change. People develop into different animals. You know what I mean? We all kind of go in our own directions, and a lot of times we come back and we say, hey, how you been? Then you start to realize, this ain't going to work. This isn't going to work. And then they just kind of break off. But it's usually not that easy. It's usually like somebody gets offended and unfriends you. I get a kick out of the people that get offended by being unfriended. He unfriended me. What? Oof. I invited. I have too many friends.
Being on Twitter. I mean, I'm new to Twitter. It's new to me because I couldn't stand it before.
Fun.
It's interesting now. I have to say,
Elon Musk is the king. He's the king.
Wait a minute. It's November 21st at 9 p.m. and Twitter is still here.
It's 8:59 p.m. Yeah, and Twitter is still here. That's right. That's right.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, listen, we're hitting the hour mark, buddy. It's a good show.
Yeah, it was a good one. Good guests, good conversation.
Very good guests. Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Sarah, for your time, your candor, your opinions, your voice. Thank you for that. Absolutely.
Another illustration of how all politics starts at the local level.
And what is this, episode 62? I'm 62? Cutting you off. Is it 62 or 63 or 62, something?
You're always cutting me off. 62. You said 61 last week.
He's cutting you off. I do I?
I'm just talking. All I'm doing.
It's the end of the show. Okay.
That's what happens. You're punch drunk.
Hey, what's your what are your Thanksgiving plans, buddy?
We're hosting. We're having a lot of people too.
What's a lot?
14, I think. That's a lot for us.
Okay.
You have what, 20 something? Is that
No, usually we have about 16, 17.
that's a lot.
Yeah, but not this year. It's actually small. It's going to be 10. That's small in my house.
Well, and yeah,
Small
and you know how it
Thanksgiving.
is up here. All the rooms are small, so you're kind of spilling from the dining room into the living room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The two chairs that are in between the archway of the two rooms. You're like squeeze.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the little
yeah.
kids.
Yeah, down here we're going to have dinner and then we're going to have dessert out by the pool. You know, it's
No, we can't. It's too cold. It'll probably be raining.
Hey, you know what I did tonight? Again, the second time, I lit one of my fireplaces. I have two that I don't need, but I have them. They came with the house.
They're gas, right?
No, wood.
You have
Yeah. This the area I live in. I'm not blowing my own. I'm just the fact. The houses in this specific community, there's only like 140 of them, and they're all different. They were all designed different. This is one of the only non-cookie cutter communities.
Florida's very cookie cutter.
So this was one of the first houses, and it just happened. Whoever designed it said, "Let's give them 2 fireplaces." Like absolutely unnecessary, but great ambiance around the holidays.
Right?
Great
You got the
ambiance.
snap, crackle, and the pop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
anyway,
so you're having a bunch of people. All right. I love big Thanksgivings. It's my favorite holiday.
I'm gonna take a crack at my mother's spaghetti pie and see how that goes. I've never made it
Oh,
before.
You're gonna have to tell me how that goes. How
If
you
it goes
make
well, I will tell you.
All right.
If it
You're
doesn't,
gonna tell me anyways.
I'm not on the air.
You're gonna have a story. There's a story coming with that. I know it is.
You know how it goes is gonna be the story.
It was so you're having an Italian Thanksgiving? Is that what it is?
Quasi. We got some Italian, very little Italian appetizer plates, and then traditional turkey, cranberries. My wife makes great homemade cranberry sauce.
I love cranberry sauce.
Well, are you the canned kind, or do you like the actual?
Yeah, I go right with ocean. I've had homemade and very few that I've actually liked. I go right with traditional ocean spray with the cranberries in it. Love the whole cranberries. But I mean, it's just not Thanksgiving without cranberries.
That's right.
You doing a ham or just turkey too? Just turkey?
Just turkey. We don't have enough oven space. Although I do have a smoker. I could probably smoke a ham. Maybe
we're doing the turkey, the ham, and I'm the stuffing master. I make the greatest stuffing.
Yes, I know. I made your stuffing, remember?
Did I give you the recipe?
That was
the
fantastic.
Greatest stuffing ever.
So good. I loved it.
The secret is a lot of butter.
Mm-hmm. Well,
A lot of butter.
It's so healthy.
Yeah. So I've lost 50 pounds. I'm probably putting 7 on over the next weekend.
Well, you're going to have the Luther's going to have all the butter in the stuffing,
On Friday,
all the butter in the
right.
turkey,
That's right.
all the
on Friday.
mayonnaise,
That's
cheese.
right. Cane's
Cheese?
mayonnaise. No cheese on the Luther. No
cheese. On
Basically, it's a turkey dinner in between two
between
slices
bread,
of bread.
yeah, white bread.
And it's not one of those little like here's this and I'm gonna put a little. No, it is. You've seen it. It's a monster.
Yeah, it's a monster.
Greatest sandwich ever.
It's so hard to watch you eat that. It's like a horror movie.
It's great. It's great. It's great. Well, all right, buddy. Listen, I'm sure I'll talk to you before Thanksgiving, but if I don't, have a great time. You and the family.
You too.
And we'll be back next Monday night. So what were you saying before I rudely interrupted you about 5 minutes ago?
This was a good example of how national politics comes local, and how all politics really is started at the local level. It's where it is.
Go. That's right.
Absolutely. If we look at our neighbors, that's all we need to worry about, and we should start doing that more.
Pay attention to the school. Pay attention. Let's see what happens with this book. This isn't the end of it.
It's not.
And the town website needs to get updated. That's a goal in 2023.
We'll work on that.
We'll get the town manager on the show. That's a goal too.
We're trying.
He's probably been told about us, and he's going to stay clear. I'm sure he's going to steer clear. But that's all right.
We'll see.
That's all right. If he watches, he'll know we're not that bad.
I'm working him.
Not that. We're always good to the people that come on.
Absolutely.
Then in 2023, we'll have Father Walter on again. Maybe we'll have him on. You know what? Let's have him on before Christmas.
You're listening, Father Walter. Let us know.
Let's have him on.
I know you're there.
I miss Father Walter.
He's up in Maine right now too. He ran to the hills. Yeah, he's up in Maine.
Okay. All right.
I know where he is. He's up near his place is up near the steakhouse. It's a great place, the steakhouse.
Nice. Yeah,
Anywho.
we'll have him on before Christmas. We got to get him on.
Sounds good.
So, all right. Well, like I always say, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You guys are the engine that drives this machine. Without you, it would just be me talking to Todd. And, well, I don't know what to say this week. It's Thanksgiving, so I can't insult them.
Let's just
I have
eat.
to be nice. I have to be nice.
Oh, no,
No, I love you, buddy. You're a good partner, buddy. You're a good partner.
Woohoo, it's me.
All right. We'll see you guys next Monday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And
Peace out.
Thank you for the people that like us, and thank you for the people that don't, because you make the people like us because you don't.
That's right.
All right.
I don't know what you said, but good on you.
That's right.